If you've ever watched a family member or a loved one struggle with dementia, there's one question that probably hits you right in the gut. Am I next? In this explainer, we're going to tackle that question head on.
Okay, let's just get right into it because this is the fear for so many of us, right? You see a parent or a grandparent deal with this and you just can't help but wonder, is that my future too? Is it already written in my DNA?
So to really get to the bottom of whether dementia is lurking in your DNA, we first have to cover some of the basics. Let's start right there.
First off, it's super important to know that dementia isn't one single disease. It's more of an umbrella term for a bunch of symptoms. Just think of it like this. Your brain cells get damaged and they can't talk to each other properly anymore. And that leads to all the issues with memory, thinking, and communication. Now, Alzheimer's is the most common cause you hear about, but trust me, there are plenty of others.
All right, so if dementia is caused by damaged brain cells, what's causing the damage in the first place? That is the million-dollar question. And a huge piece of the answer lies deep inside us, in the biological blueprint that makes you, your genes.
So let's unpack that genetic link a little bit. I mean, our genes are basically the instruction manual we get from our parents, right? They decide things like your eye color, maybe how tall you are. But as scientists have found out, they can also seriously influence our risk for certain health problems.
And when we're talking about dementia, there are a few key genes that pop up again and again. Now, some of them are incredibly rare, but they're what's called deterministic, meaning if you have them, you are almost guaranteed to develop early-onset Alzheimer's. But for most of us, the single most important gene to know about is called APOE-e4.
Now check this out. This chart really shows you the power of that APOE-e4 gene. Somewhere between 40 and 65% of people diagnosed with Alzheimer's have at least one copy of it. That's a really strong connection, but, and this is a huge but, look at the other side of the chart. A massive chunk of patients don't have it at all. And here's the real kicker. Most people who carry the APOE4 gene will never develop Alzheimer's. So what does that tell you? It's a major risk factor for sure, but it is not the whole story. Not even close.
So let's put a number on it. According to the CDC, if you have a close relative, like a parent or a sibling with Alzheimer's, your personal risk goes up by about 10 to 30%. So yeah, it's a real, measurable increase, but it is a long, long way from being a 100% guarantee.
And that right there brings us to the most important point of this whole explainer. Your genes are not your destiny. They are just one factor in a much, much bigger picture. I mean, this quote really says it all. You can have a high-risk gene like APOE-e4 your entire life and never, ever develop dementia. So why is that? Well, it's because there are a whole lot of other things at play.
This slide just lays it out perfectly. On one side, you've got the genetic hand you were dealt. Can't do anything about that. But then look at the other side. This is the game changer. Lifestyle, other health factors. This is where you actually get to take back some control.
So let's widen the lens a bit. Let's move beyond our DNA and really look at what these other factors are that researchers have been working so hard to pin down.
And here they are. A big report back in 2020 identified these 12 key things that we can actually modify. And just look at this list. Of course, you've got high blood pressure, smoking, physical inactivity, but hearing impairment, low social contact, it just goes to show you that the health of your brain is tied to pretty much everything. The health of your whole body and even your environment.
Okay, so knowing all the risks is one thing, but that can be kind of scary. What can you actually do about it? Well, this is where the whole story shifts from just risk to actual empowerment.
And here is the empowering part. So many of the biggest risk factors are things we can actually influence. I mean, managing your blood pressure and blood sugar, that's huge. Eating a healthy diet, staying active, that stuff protects your heart and your brain. And hey, don't underestimate the simple things like staying social or wearing a helmet. These are all real, concrete actions that can lower your risk.
So, to bring it all home, here's the takeaway. Yes, family history absolutely increases your risk for dementia. That genetic link is real, but it is not a sentence. Think of it more as a factor. And your lifestyle choices, those are powerful tools you can use to manage that risk and build a more resilient brain.
So I want to leave you with this thought. It's a really powerful metaphor that sums it all up. Genetics loads the gun, but lifestyle pulls the trigger. Your genes might set the stage, but your actions, your choices, day in and day out, play a massive role in how the story actually ends. It's a question of risk versus resilience, and it turns out a huge part of that equation is up to you.